can see it. Okay, so this returns the average for each of the team. Now, from the question, what they ask us to do on the next line is we should compare the team's average scores to determine the winner of the competition. So for us to be able to compare, we know that it's a conditional thing, it's a conditional statement. We want to check if one team's average score is greater than the other team's average score. So what we have to set up is a conditional statement. And how do we do that? We do that by simply stating like if, then the normal brackets that we do, and the body of the file, of the body of the condition, or what we want the condition to do. So what are we testing? We want to test if the average score of the first team is greater than the average score of the second team. So we can say if Dolphins average. I hope you all get how we are doing this, because now we have a constant, we have a variable that has Dolphins average and is returning this value here. So if I put this here, it will definitely reach the value of what the calculated score of this one is. So that's why I'm putting this here. So it won't be confusing for anybody. Koala's average. Then console the log Dolphin, the Dolphins win the match. Is it a match or is it a competition? Okay, it's a competition. That's the competition. So let's make this backticks because I want to add the value of their score. And average score of, then we do this and do Dolphins. So can anybody explain to me why I did this for Dolphins average? Why I used the backtick? Anybody, please?
You're using the template literal.
Yes, the reason why I'm doing so is why.
Okay, can I?
Yeah, anybody, just anybody.
Okay, the backtick actually reads everything as a comment, but when you include this dollar sign, it brings the value, that's the value of the Dolphins average, and reads it together as the initial comment which you've written.
Yeah, so you
As a
actually
string,
got
sorry,
it.
not comment.
Yeah, that was one thing I wanted to mention, that you got it, but it's a string, not a comment. A comment is a line that you don't want written, like you don't want to sing your code. So it's a string. So that's the reason why I did this. So if you were to check for our console now, that should have printed out the Dolphins win with an average score of this. So and we can go a step further to state another condition, like while the koalas lost with an average score of plus. So I went ahead to print while the koalas lost with an average score of 73.33. Yeah, 73.33. Now that's one test case. Okay, so for us to write the other test case, it might be that the koalas win and the dolphins lose. So we could write that else if the okay, we could write else, then just do else also for log, and just copy this whole line, Control C, paste it into Control V. Then instead of this, I'll have koalas average coming first. then this will be dolphins average. So what this line does is, if this statement, the first condition is not true, that means if dolphins average is not greater than the koala's average, then we want this to print. So let's say we inverted this now, and this was koala's average, for example, and we made this dolphins average. Then instead of this first case to run, we have the second case, which is the else statement. And so if we were to check our browser now, we see that. Let's remove that.
Mr. Abdullah,
Yeah,
good morning, sir. Sorry,
yeah, no.
I don't get. Is it the correction you're doing?
Yes, I am making the correction.
Okay.
So I'm coming. This thing is doing something for me again. It is not.
No. The console.log, you didn't change the name. You started with the dolphins instead of the koalas.
I don't get you.
Nothing else.
Oh, okay. So I was really wondering, like, what's going on here? So I almost lost my brain. I was like, what is in the world is going on? Why will it still be the same? So this is it. So if we had a different condition where the koalas was greater than, they had an higher average score than the dolphins, this would be the condition. Now we could have a situation whereby they both had a draw, so they had a tie. How would you do that? So we have to create another condition. So for that condition, let's cut this out. Write an else if statement. An else if statement. So if dolphins average equals koalas average, put console.log that log. So can you guys hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. The team had teams tied. So we set up a condition where if both teams had the same score, you should just console.log that the team tied. So let's set that up now and say, instead of it being that a team is greater than the other, what if they both tied? Let's control V. Oh, let's control V that. So in our console, that should print the teams tied, and we do have that here. It says the teams tied because they both have the same average score. So it came to my attention that Elise used the triple equator here. Where did she use it? Or was it Fatima? I'm not sure. I saw someone use the triple equator sign. It's not here. Let's see. Fatima. Okay, so Fatima used this triple equator sign. So let me explain a bit more about the triple equator and the triple equator. It's there's this thing in JavaScript. It's called the strict equality. That's what I'm getting. The strict equality sign, and also we have the loose equality sign. So for the strict equality sign, let's say age equals 18, const birth year equals 2020 or 2003 maybe. So if birth year, okay, console log. Let's make this one age. Make this string of 18. Okay. First here. Equal 18. Now, can you guys see this very well? This part here. This one that says age equals 18, main age equals to string of 18, and I'm also the logging if birth here equals 18. The strict equality sign mainly is just 3 = signs like this. So it's a 3 equality sign like this. You write 3 equals to consecutively. So that's what the strict equality sign is. Now, from what you can see, we can say, okay, this is 18, and this main age is also equals to 18. Okay, we did age equals to 18. Now, what I'm doing here is, the age has a data type of number, right? And the main age, it also has a data type of string. Now, what I'm trying to check there, I said console.log if age, this number type is equal main age, which is the string type. But if you look at it, the value are both the same thing. So this should return true, right? But if we check our console, we see that it returns false. So what the strict equality operator equality sign is it checks for the exact data type. If the data type is not exactly the same thing, it would return a value of false. And we can see from this place that we have the first data type to be a number type and the second one to be a string type. So this definitely is not the same thing. That's why this would return a false. Whereby if you use the double equality sign, the loose equality sign in this case, as JavaScript refers to it, the loose equality, which is just 2 signs consecutively, like following each other, you would see that this will return a true value because that it does not check for the data type. It just coerces. There's something called the type coercion, and I'm going to mention that like next now. The type coercion is basically when JavaScript sees like, okay, probably you're trying to add a string to a number. What it does a type coercion, and what a type coercion is, it just changes the other one to a string too, and it adds it together. So let me show you what I mean. So age plus main age console. So this is what I mean by type coercion. So type coercion in JavaScript is when you are trying to concatenate a data type that is not the same, when you're trying to add them together. You can see that this data type, obviously from here, the age data type is 18, and the main age data type is 18, but it's a string. Now we want to add, if you want to perform an operation on both of them, yeah, we want to add age to main age, but they are different types. If this was to be a number type, if main age was to be a number type of data, it will definitely add whatever is in this main age to 18, like it will do in any mathematical equation. But since this is it's a number type and the main is a data type, what JavaScript does that is called type coercion is it will change that the number will be this number. When it comes, it will be as a string. And when you add a string to a string, you just would normally, if I said my name was Abdullah and const name equals drag. If I were to do my name and this as last name, what you would see is it concatenates as Abdullah drag here. So that's the same thing that it does when you have a number type and main age type. The number type, the age is a number type, and main age is a string type. When those come together, JavaScript to see it as a string. You see the number type as a string, which is called type coercion. It coerces the data type of the number type variable to a string and adds it together. That's why we had 18, age, and okay. At least you can speak, please.
Okay, so for instance, if you're using the strict equality something, and
Yeah.
you have the same data type, does the value
Okay.
have to be the same? For instance, if you have
For it to
18 and then you have the other one 19, but they are the same data type, would it come out as true or false?
if they are the same data type, it won't come out as true or false, regardless of whether it's they have to have the same value and they have to have the
Same
same
data
data
type.
type for it to come out as true.
Okay, so it has to be
Yes.
the same
So they
value,
have to
same
be
data type.
exactly. So if you were to say, let's try that out. So let's say, so if I was to say age is 18 and main age is 19, if we were to use the loose equality sign, which is just a double equality sign, what this will return, it will return a true value. Let's see. Control R. Okay, this also checks for the time. Sorry, the loose equality also checks for the value also, but it will not like it's only when it comes to the string that it will not check. Do you understand? So if we were to say with the strict equality sign that equal equals to, it will definitely return a false for us, like this, like we have here, the false value here. So that is just a common thing. With even the loose equality sign, so you cannot have the same value. But the only edge that we have with the strict equality is it will check the data type. But every other thing it does with the loose equality sign. So if something has a higher value and it's of the same number type, it will not like it will return a false value if you're trying to compare them. I hope that is clear.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So that's just what I wanted to mention. So we could use the strict equality sign here, and we could use like the loose equality sign since we are not really considering what the data type is. But let's say we wanted to consider what the data type is, probably we were creating something else, like when I writing JavaScript code to affect something or to effect some changes in our website, we would definitely want to have those checks in place so that we won't have errors when we want to try to pass data. Do you get? I hope you all get that, Sean.
Yes.
Okay. So okay, okay. You won't be able to do this challenge yet. So let's just move on to something that we can learn in today's class, and that would be, let's see, where's that? Okay. So let's do this. Let's make another JavaScript file called class 2 or JS or class 3. Today's tutorial. So let's see what we will be learning today, because I'm actually following
Hello,
a curriculum. Yeah, I can hear you.
please let me quickly screenshot that one before you leave, please. That other one.
Okay, the assignment part.
Yeah. Okay.
This one. The whole thing or the strict equality sign?
Yeah, the whole thing, the whole thing. Is that possible from the beginning?
Let me just. Yeah.
Or just
This
start
is
from the
everything
beginning.
like this.
Just see from the beginning. Yeah.
This is everything. This is everything like
Okay.
this.
Okay, just a second. All right, thank you. Okay, you're not completing it for the rest.
I'm not completing it in what sense? Sorry.
Okay, have you completed that assignment? Like, have you compared the solution?
Yeah. Yes, I have completed the solution. What is there is you said you should check for a minimum. Okay, no, I've not done this part. I only thought we had to compare and check for average, but I've not done the minimum score. So let's do this one, the bonus one. I didn't even know we've not completed
Mr.
it.
Abdullah,
Yes, I'm listening.
sorry, in the listen you didn't use the test data they gave, or that one is not compulsory.
It's not compulsory as long it's just like for you to check if your values are like if your function or whatever you wrote is working. That's what the test data is for. So you can actually use any number, you can use anything as long as it just shows that your app is working or your code is working. You get.
Okay.
So let me finish up the question. I don't think I answered what the main question was. So this first one, it says, include the requirement for a minimum score of 100. With this rule, a team only wins if it has a higher score than the other team, and at the same time, the score of at least 100 points. Okay. So let's see how we can. So for this part, actually, we would have to touch on something, which is the logical operators. We've not talked about all the logical operators that we have. So I'm going to let me see if I can get something from ending.
So,
Yeah.
you did something about some extensions. We haven't gotten it.
Extensions.
Yeah, you mentioned on the first, you mentioned something about extension. We downloaded some extensions. It's not needed again, right?
I don't get you. Did I say something about that to you?
Yeah, you said you're going to send us links to some extensions. I don't know. For VS
Oh,
Code.
okay, probably. Okay. I just said I wanted to mention the extensions of VS Code that you could install, so that to make like working faster for you on VS Code. And most of it, you guys said you had live server, so you need kites. So kites make suggestions for you about your code, so it will be easier for you to write. You don't have to know like every every um every syntax off the top of your head. So let's say you just search for kites like this. So this is kite autocomplete. It's like this. So you just install it. So you guys can download kite. Kite is good. Okay.
Exactly, Sabian now.
Yes, in the book.
What do you want? What do you want? Waiting for me. At
So I'm trying to check for just I don't know everything off the top of my head. So. Okay. So logical operators that we have is just this, and this. The and sign, the or sign, and the not. So let's check for that. So let me first treat that before we actually do that in class. Like before we attend to the assignment. So the and operators and operator. Okay, so the way logical operator work, I mean logical operators work is that let's say you have a condition that you want to satisfy, yes, and but that condition is not one. You want to have another condition too that has to be satisfied before something runs. That's when we need the and logical operator. So let me write like sort of like a short note. The and so I think most of us have like engineering background. I think this is more familiar with like most of us because anything that has like an and is just kind of like saying okay, we want to concatenate like two conditions together. But for us that don't have probably like engineering background, so it would be a kind of new concept. What it is generally is the and logical operator is a kind of operator used when you have two or more conditions to be fulfilled before an action or a function is carried out. So what the analogical operator is a kind of operator that you use when you have kind of like two or more conditions that you want to fulfill. So let's say I wanted something to be true and also another thing to be true before I carry out an action. So let's say like my famous example is before you can actually prepare, but you have to have the mortar that you want to use and also the hot water that you need to use. You cannot. Yeah, I can use that. So it was anyone talking to me? Hello, is anyone talking to me?
No.
Okay. So I said as I was saying, the logical operator and is when you have like two or more conditions that you want to you want to fulfill before an action is carried out. Now I was making reference to like if you wanted to prepare a bowl animals or any swallow food, you have to have water that is already hot and also the mortar that you want to use to stir. So for the that kind of condition, for that eba to be prepared, you have to have hot water and you have to have a mortar. So if you don't have one of the two, let's say you can give an argument that we could use spoon, okay, fine. Let's say you don't have a spoon that you use to stir and hot water, you cannot prepare eba. Even if you have hot water alone, you can still not prepare eba without the garri yet. So if you want one or more conditions to be fulfilled before you carry out an action, before you carry out a function, before you do something, that's when we make use of the and operator. So I'll make an example now. Let's say let's say plus 18. I'm only 4. So let's say const age is equal to 18 and also const year equals 2022. So if age if let's say year is greater than age and age equals 18, then you want to console the raw Okay, so let's link this off to our HTML file. Let's do class 3.js. Now let's check this out in our console. So you can see that we have this printing out as you are 18 years old and it is year 2022. Now, let's say I was to violate something in this condition that I've said. In this condition, now what I said is if year is greater than age, yes, like if 2022 is greater than 18 and age is equals to 18. That means if this age is strictly equals to 18, then you should print this out, right? You should print this value out. Now, if I was to change this age to 19, can anybody answer if this would still print out? If this console.log will still print out?
No.
Yeah. So it won't print out because what the AND operator is it just concatenates two conditions that you want to be met before you carry out an action. It concatenates it together. So if we were to check our console now, we won't have anything. So it will be an empty, it will be like it won't return anything unless we state an else statement. So if you say else You just say else, then you can say console.log, then you do age is not equals 18. So if we were to check, our console now, I set up sorry, excuse me. So I set up an else statement. Like if the first condition is not true, then we want to run this last statement. So after it checked, like it saw that year is greater than age, and that is true. And but it saw that age is not equals to 18, then it is printing out this last line that we have. So that's what the AND logical operator is. I hope we all got that. Did we all get that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So we also have the OR logical operator. So what the OR logical operator is, is just two strokes like this. You can find that stroke beside but you should just two vertical strokes. I don't want to define where it is on your keyboard. You could probably find that out. But it's just two vertical strokes that is standing. It's beside your curly braces. That's the outermost curly braces, the one on the far right. So it's always beside it. I'm not sure if that's where it's going to be on your own keyboard, but that's where it is. It's just two vertical strokes that stay. So the OR logical operator is a kind of operator that, when used, performs an action when one of the conditions is one of the conditions stated is met. So the OR logical operator is just as it sounds, is like it makes an exception. So let's say you have two conditions that you want to satisfy. Yes. The OR operator, what it does is it just checks if one of them is true. Now, if one of the operators, like if one of the conditions that you have set is true, it will definitely run the function. But if none is true, then it will not run. That's what the OR operator is. So if I were to copy this code that we have up here and say Control C and do Control V here, and I do this. Now, you can see from this one that year is definitely greater than age, which is 2022 is greater than 19. And I set up an OR. Age is strictly equals 18. You see, age is not equals to 18, but this will still print. Why is that? It will still print because one of the condition has been met, which is that year is greater than age, which is 2022 is greater than 19. So if we were to check our console, we have that. Okay, let me console out this one so we don't get confused. This one. So we'll see that it says you are 19 years old and it is year 2022. So one of our conditions was met. So it definitely goes ahead to print this, this, what's it called? It definitely went ahead to print this line that we have here. So let's say if none of our conditions is met. So if I say if years is less than age, that means none of our condition was met, then it will print out this last line that we have here. Let me just name this. Let's say none of the conditions was or were met. Was it was met or were met? So you can see that out in our console, like, okay, when this is not true because year is definitely greater than age and we are checking if it is less than age here. So this is definitely not true. Or age is equals to 18. And from here, we can definitely see that age is not equals to 18. So the first condition is not met. That signifies that this first one won't run. And the second like the fail safe that we have is this else statement, which states that none of the conditions were met. So that's why we have this in our console. So do you guys understand that? Hopefully we all got that.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's this other one called the not operator. The not operator is, let's see, it's quite simple actually. So we have the not logical operator, which is just an exclamation mark. So you guys can find that out. So what it does, yeah, is this operator, let's see, just negates or changes the value of, is it a boolean? Let's see. It doesn't really do boolean. Yeah, okay, changes the value of a boolean or checks if it does not really perform any check. Let me not give a note on this. Let me just try to explain it. Because what it does is, let's say you want a condition like is not what you have. Let me just give you something. If age is not equal to 18, then console the log you
Smart.
18 years old. Yeah. I'm listening. I want to write this out to explain what it does because I wanted to give a short note on this before, but I'm like, what is in my head is not going to tally. It's not going to fully describe what this operator does. That's why I'm giving a note. Yes, I'm listening. I can hear you.
I said I don't understand. I don't understand what about that and is it and operator.
The first one.
The and operator.
Yeah, the first, like I mean the first, this one here.
Yeah, I don't understand anything there. Even both the second one you're doing, because network log me out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you should have said that. Okay, let me just go back. So what the and is here? The and is an operator that checks if, let's say you have two or more conditions, right? If you want both of them to be true before an action is performed, that's what the and operator is. Are you listening, Iji? Ijoma?
Yeah, I'm listening.
So I said if you want two conditions to be met, or if you have more conditions, if you have two conditions that you want to definitely be met before you carry out an action or you call a function, that's when you use the and operator. Do you understand? So what it's meant by that is, I will give an example about like if you want to prepare eba. Yeah, you cannot prepare eba without having hot water and gari, and what you want to stir with probably the spoon or a mortar. You get. Now that is the conditions that have to be met before you prepare eba. So you cannot do it either of the three. So before you prepare, but you must definitely have gari, and you must definitely have hot water. So those are two conditions that must definitely be met before you prepare eba. So that's what an and operator is for. If you want the condition to be met, like if you want to perform an action, but under two specific conditions or more, you can have two or more conditions. So that's when you use the and operator. Now, for this part here, what we did was I said const age is 19 and the year is 2022. So if year is greater than age, so I just stated a block here that if year is greater than age, yes, like if you have this year 2022 to be greater than age, which is definitely true, then and also which is these two ampersand signal ampersand symbols rather, these two and like the normal and that you would write, like you want to write and, so the ampersand symbols you write two consecutively, that's what the and logical operator is. So if this is true, like if this first one that we check if year is greater than age is true, and also age equals to 18, but let me change it to 19 years so that we can run the first one. So and also age is equals to 19, then whatever condition that you have in the block here is going to run. Do you understand? So you know year is greater than age now, Abby. 2022 is greater than 19. That's true. And which is this symbol here, these two symbols here, then age is also equals to 19. So if you check our age here is 19, then we want to console the log this value here. Sure you get. So if we go to our console now, you definitely see that okay, this is the first one here, which says you are 19 years old and it is 2022. So that's what the logical AND operator does. If you have two conditions or more that you want to be met before you carry out a specific function, that's when you use the logical AND operator. Do you get? Is that clear now, EG? Please, I need a response.
Yes, I understand it now, sir.
Now, so the OR operator here is just as it sounds. If you want one out of every condition that you have, that you want to have at least one to be met before you carry out an action, that is what the OR operator is for. And let's say I have, okay, let's do this now. Let me consider this out so I won't have any issues. And also this part out. Now, what this does is, yeah, you know, the OR operator is just two strokes that stand side by side. It's two lines that stand side by side. You can find that on your keyboard. It's like above, it's beside the external curly braces, sure you get. You see it there. It just stands like this. You have to press shift to access it. Shift and that button. So if year is greater than age, if you check here now, definitely year is greater than age. Then or, which is these two strokes here, age is equals to 18. We want to check if age is equals to 18. But from here, age is not equals to 18. But with the OR operator, it only just needs one of the conditions that you are stating to be true for it to run. Now, since year is greater than age, we will definitely have this first line here. We're having it printed to the console. And why is that? Because one of your conditions was met. So if you see that now, we see that, okay, this printout, you are 19 years old and it is 2022. Do you understand? Now, let's say if none of the conditions was met. Yes, year is not less than age, obviously, because 2022 is greater than 19. And also the age is not equals to 18. So if this is not true, if both conditions is not true, then we need to do something. So we get out none of the conditions was met, were met. I'm really confused about what, but you should get the gist. Because we are met. So for the OR operator, oh my God. Sorry, did you guys hear me clearly? Well, I was breaking at the point. Responses, please. I need a response. Did you guys hear me clearly? I was breaking at
Yes,
the
we
point.
can. I can hear you.
We can hear you.
So, Umi,
Yes, I can hear you.
I am Ijama. Is that clear? So the OR operator is you need just one condition to be fulfilled before the code runs. Do you get? That's what the OR operator is. Did you get that? Is it Jama logged out again? But it's because of what I'm explaining.
Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Hello, Mr. Buddha.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hey. So do you understand? I can hear you, Joma. Did you understand what I explained about the OR operator?
I don't think she's okay. Hello, good morning. Please, can I ask a question?
Yeah, come on.
Okay,
Yes, you
please,
can.
this or operator, please, what is that? I'm trying to get the keyboard, but I don't think it's coming up.
Okay, the OR operator, I should explain a bit.
Yes.
Okay, so what the OR operator is here is just is going to check. Let's say you have one condition and you want only one of them to be true before you perform a certain action. The OR operator is for. The AND is going to check if all the conditions that you want to be met is met rather before it performs an action. But the conditions that you to be all operators are before the whole code runs. But for the AND, every condition that you set has to be met. But for the OR, only one condition has to be met.
Okay. Then what
So let's say, for example, now
Did you hear what I
Like
said?
what key is for the
Operator.
right? Yeah, I'm saying to the group now.
You said? I can't hear you.
I'll snap and send the group now. I said I will snap it for that group that you guys can see.
Okay. Thank you.
Seriously, my camera is really fuzzy right now, and you know. Okay, yeah. Okay. Okay. So I've sent a. You should be receiving it now. Get confused. It's kind of like just a vertical stroke. You see it, you should pop out on your. So you have to press shift to access it actually. Do you get now? Have you gotten it? So I need the response
Yes,
so
sir.
I can move on with the class here.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that's okay. So that's what the is one condition out of all the conditions that you have set has to be met. But for the and, all of the conditions have to be met. Yeah. The extension. Yeah. So the last one, which is the not operator. Sorry, please. I would ask if you guys could give me like 5 minutes. I need to go to the toilet. I have to pee.
Sorry, am I the only one that can't hear anybody talking?
Can we go on the 30 minutes break and maybe come back?
Yeah.
Hello. Wait, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I know I've been
Yes.
talking, but I wasn't doing anything. I've made you host already.
So you didn't say something. Was that my
Sorry, I can't hear anything.
Can you hear- I can hear everybody fine.
Okay, I think I'm having. Sorry, I think I'm having a network issue, but I've made you host already. If you can hear me.
Yeah. Michael, please. I cannot. So can you guys hear me? So answers, please. I need to know if you guys can hear me so I can move on with the class.
Yeah, we can. I can hear you from my end. I don't know about others, Sha.
I can hear you too.
Okay,
I can hear you.
fine. So has anybody be able to do the small quiz that I sent?
Yes, I did it, but it's not logging anything in my console.
Yeah, let me make you code so you can share your screen and see what you have done. At least were you able to do it?
Yes, I was able to.
Sorry, the voice is breaking.
Sorry, did you say? I can't hear you. Oh, God, mercy. What? Serious. Let me get on that paper. Can you just hear me? I can share my screen. I don't know if anyone is hearing me. I just don't want to be
Can hear
answering.
you. You're live.
Okay. So has anybody been able to do it? I wanted Anu to share a screen before, but I don't know if she went off again. At least
Yes, I'm online.
so
Can you
I
hear
can
me?
see what.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I made you co-host already. Yes, I can.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
It's still loading up, so I've not seen it yet. Okay, I can see it now.
Okay, you can see it now. So it's not logging anything in my console.
Are you sure you linked your HTML file to what you have?
Yes, I did.
Let me see. And can you zoom in, please? Press to pause on your so it zooms in. So I can it shook the extension, but it's back on. So let me see. Okay. If salary is greater than expenses and expenses, okay. Go to your salary. Add a space behind it. And also the salary and the greater than, those are the space. It does not really matter what it's for readability, so I'm able to read it. So why it wouldn't print anything for you is that your first off, your salary is not greater than your expenses. For the other parts, like for and to work, both of the conditions have to be met. Do you get?
Okay.
So since salary is not greater than expenses, the only one condition is met, but both conditions have to be met for and to work. Do you get me? So that's why it's not working. So if you were to change the salary, probably add 2 zeros behind it. It will definitely print you out. Print out something for you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, so for and to work, you definitely have both conditions, or it could be more than one condition. Say the conditions that you have stated in the block has to be met, all of them. But if it is all, one or more conditions can be met, but for and every damn condition has to be met. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else wants to go ahead and share? At least that bonus teaser that I dropped. Was anybody able to do that?
I didn't see it. I
On
was
the
being
group.
on Zoom. I wasn't on WhatsApp, so I didn't see it. I was just waiting for you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I said was actually to just write the conditional statement that has both the and the all operators together in the same block in the same condition.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So please were you able to do it?
Yeah, but I'm trying to log on to my system to join Zoom so that I can share. My network is terrible. But I did try. I can send a screenshot to the group.
Okay, kindly do so I can review that. Was anybody else also able to try it? Yeah, I can hear you, Ezra.
Yeah, I tried it, but I used the assignment that you gave us because while I did it, I was having some difficulties with those conditions, and honestly, I don't know whether it's just semantics or the logic behind it.
Sure, let me make you post. Okay, let me make you post so you can share and we get like we yeah.
Yeah, give me 1 minute. Let me just
Post
log on my
permission.
system.
Okay, no problem. So while we wait for them, let me just let. Now, like we will say now, what are they shout?
Now they shout, they drag,
So I wanted to explain the not operator before, but let me just wait for guys to join with their PCs. So okay, is this PC's on? So PC, is this yours? Oh, Charity. Injama, do you want to say something? Your network is pretty bad. Probably should change location. Your network is always like very sketchy.
Hello, Abdullah. You can make me a co-host now. Let me share my screen.
Okay. Which one am I making co-host? Is there a particular, or is this Mr. Asia? Like still the same thing?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, God the mercy. Yeah, I made you co-host now. So you are the one I need. Okay, yeah, you're co-host now. So you can go ahead and check. So Charity, I'm still reviewing yours also.
Hello, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so I was just trying to get the bonus part of the assignment, right, which includes the conditions. And okay, so just using this include a requirement for the B part, actually making just if the minimum score also applies to 100%. So a draw only happens when both teams have the same score and both have a score greater or equal to 100 points. So I'm finding that difficult to include in the conditional statement. So this is the code for that. I don't know. I just know it's not correct because I don't know if I got the semantics for the code right. So this is what I have.
Okay. Let's see. The bonus part, the B part of the bonus. Let me see, because I don't remember the question off the top of my head. So it says the minimum score also applies to a draw. So a draw only happens when both teams have the same score and both have a score greater or equal 100 points. Otherwise, no team wins the draw. Okay, so what for a draw to occur? Otherwise, no team wins, right? So you can.
Your line is breaking.
Oh no.
Can you hear me?
No, is it fine?
Hello, Abdullah. Can you hear me?
So I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you now.
Okay, fine. So see, minimum score equals 100. Also log minimum score, okay. And if Dolphins average is greater than Koala's average. Yeah.
My name is Rosie and I'm calling from Ulusola. I just called you sometime last month.
Sorry, please, could that person let me see who it is. Let's meet this. Okay. I think everybody's mic is on. So can you see me, Ezra?
Yes, I can hear you.
No. So what I'm checking if this block here is checking. Let me just read it and see what it's checking. So the Dolphins average is first checking if the Dolphins average is greater than the Koala's average, and also the Dolphins average is greater than the minimum score. Then it should show this that
Yes,
the Dolphins win the match.
win the match. Yes.
Okay. And also, if the Koala's average was greater than this, and also this than minimum score, it should show this. Then if they are equal, and also the difference average or the Koala's average is the minimum score, then this should be shown. Yeah, it should work.
What I cannot fit in is if they are both also greater than, because the bonus says it's only the tie applies if they both have the same score and both have a score greater or equal to 100 points. So that's where I'm having an issue.
So is it the greater or equal to 100 points that you?
Yes, that's greater or equal to 100 points.
You can
Because,
just
and also, sorry, also from here, from this line 91, right? I don't know if the way I don't know if the way the function runs is if for example, this is Dolphins average is equal to Koala's average, and Dolphins average or Koala's average is greater than minimum score. I don't know if it's.
No, I'll explain something now.
Okay.
So that thing is, you know, the way we put into brackets, we put things into brackets when we want to add multiplication there. Like when we want to, like, let's say we want to group a group of numbers together. Like, okay, we want to run this part of. Let me just share my screen so you or let me text it. Let me put it in the text and see. You know, we could do
Can you
something
please
like
share so that everyone you can. Let me stop sharing my screen. You can do it on your own console.
Okay. So I'll just use it to explain a point.
Okay.
So you guys can see my screen now, Shane. You guys can see my screen now.
Yes, you can see your screen.
Okay. You know, we have conditions where we can say console log, then we have something like this. Then we have another something. We have also. Now, if you were to check this out in our console, I'm guessing we would have different answers. Let's see, index to HTML. Asking. I'm coming. I think my let's see something. Okay, it's working now. Now you know there's this way that we can write things here. That we have this first, like 2 times 4 minus 2 in brackets here. Sure, you get just to group them. Okay, let me show you what I mean. So please, I need responses so I know that you guys are following what I'm saying.
We're following. I'm following.
Okay. So you see this first line here? Yes. The order is different. I put the first 2 in a bracket like this, 2 times 4 in a bracket. Then I'm subtracting 2 from it. Yes. Then the second one is the same order of operators, the multiplication first, then the subtraction. But in this case, we have 4 minus 2 in brackets. Sure you get. So the answers from these ones will be different. Why? Because we are grouping them like, okay, this is, we want 2 times 4 to be evaluated first, then minus 2 second. And in this first one, we are just multiplying 2 multiplied by the 4 minus 2. Do you get? That's why this one is 4 and this one is 6, even though they have the same operators. Now, the same thing applies to your own condition too. Let's say you have a condition where JavaScript has to evaluate. Yes, there are some operators that take precedence over the other ones. So let me show you something called operator precedence. So what operator precedence is here is like the way the order of which by which things happen. Now you can see what we have here, like what MDN has. So you have 3 times 4 minus 5, and we have 4 times 3, then the square of this. Oh, sorry. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I think I lost connection. So we can see that here the plus comes first, then the multiplication. There's an order by which they buy, boy. There's an order by which things like take place. Like we have the plus first, then the multiplication next. So there's an order by which the operators take precedence. So in your case now, some things, I want to check if there's the logical operator side actually. The ones that take precedence first. And you see this part here, I said A or then B times C. It's always better when you group things that like there are a condition that is very long. It's always true if you group like, okay, certain conditions have to be met. You group them. Then if they want them to be greater than a certain condition, then you group down to. If you want it to be greater than a certain condition, then you group down to. I'm going to stop sharing now so that I can use your code to better explain what I'm saying so everybody gets it.
Okay.
Okay, you can share now. I think you're supposed. Now, the better way to put this would be, since we have a very, very long condition here, the better way to put it is this dolphins average for the last else if. Then, for let me mention this too so that it gets across to everybody. The last condition, you always have to put else. Like else has to be the last condition. You can use else if too, but it's always a safe way of writing is when you have else as the last condition. So that means if all of the conditions that you have set, none of them matches, you just have that fail safe. But using yours to explain now, we have dolphins average is equals to koala's average. Put that in the bracket. Yeah.
Okay. The dolphins average is equals to koala's average.
For this last line 91. Then put this dolphins average or koala's average is greater than minimum score. Put the dolphins average or the koala's average also in the bracket. Then put the whole of everything that is behind the like be after the and, put them in the bracket.
Okay.
So what this does is it takes the first bracket and it evaluates it here. Then it groups this after that it ends it with this next with this next evaluation. And what that will do is it will check for both of them, like it will check for either of them, then it will compare it with minimum score. If that is true, then it ends it and everybody ties. Sure you get.
Okay, but so, the other part of the question is if they both have the same score or both have a greater score a greater or equal to 100 score.
Yeah, that's when you now put a greater or equal to sign in front of this minimum score. Yeah, it's part of the operators that we mentioned. Was it yesterday or 2 days ago?
So
like
it would be
for
another.
operators, no. If it is greater than or equal to minimum score, yeah, so you just put it in front of the greater than here that we have before minimum score.
Okay.
So the type of operators that we have that are comparison operators, you have the greater than, you have the less than, you have the greater than or equal to, which is just a greater than and equal to after it. And you have the less than or equal to, which is just a less than and equal to after it.
So, okay, just like this?
Yeah, exactly, just like that. So that's how you compare if something is greater than or equal to something. Do you get?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, welcome. I hope you all got that, or if you don't understand the thing about it, I can always explain. I want to solve like the question that I sent to the group. So
I've
just
been able to do it.
okay, and you can share your screen.
Please,
Okay,
can you
go.
make me
Let me see.
host?
Okay, I'm host. I thought, oh, you're PC.
Yeah, my phone was closed.
Let's see. Let's see. I mean, audio. Bam, só for pegar. Não é even message. Audio tu bam share. Okay, so let's see.
Just can you guys see it?
Yes. You've zoomed in too much actually. And it's okay like that.
Okay. I zoom out.
Yeah, it's okay like this. It's okay like this. So
This
if,
is
okay, and can you explain what you've done? See if you
so I
understand.
did. Yeah, so I did the first one, which is let F name equal to Elise, let O name equals to OE, and then let number one equals to number 2 equals 3. So with this code now, when it looks at the first one, which is if F name is equal to Elise, and if O name is equal to OE, or if num1 is greater than num2, it should print hey you. So first of all, it has to compare the F name and O name. They both have to be the same for it to work. But for the second part, which is number 1 greater than 2, sorry, it's supposed to be number 2. Number 1 greater than number 2, it will regardless if this is right or wrong, it would work because it's an or. So if either this one is right or either this one is right, it would show it would print out what I've asked it to print, which is hey you. But if both of them are wrong, it wouldn't print out. But if one is right, it would print out. So
Okay.
it printed out a hey you here.
Okay. So that's basically what I asked you guys to do. I'm looking at PC's own space and my age is 13. Okay, please attempted just creating the normal if and else statement with the and the or. But what I really wanted was like the part that has the and or. Just 2 questions actually. So she did the first question too. So nice work, all of you. All of you. What should I just? So give me a minute though. Okay.
Abdullah, can I ask a question?
Yeah, definitely. You can go ahead.
Okay. Sorry, Peace. I'm going to use your screenshots from the group to ask the question. So you used the 3 equal to signs, which is supposed to equate the data types, does that not does that also work instead of using the two equal sign, which is the which equates the what their variables are carrying? You know how to.
Okay, I think and there's a misconception here. What the strict equality sign, which is the three equal to sign, what it does here is just to check if the exact value that you have is the same. And hey, did I lose connection again? What in the world is going on? So can you guys hear me?
Yes, can hear you and see your screen.
The strict equality sign looks for the value, like if that you're comparing is the same as what what's passing into it. So let's say you have a number now, you have number into name is equal to, it will definitely return a false value because that's not what is there. And even if it's not equal to sign, it will do that too. But the strict equality is just really useful. Let's say when you're trying to, when you have a string and a number that have the same string as 18, and I also have a number as 18. If I were to use the normal equal to sign to check that, it will say the value, they have the same value. You get it will say like they have the same data type. But if I were to use the strict equality, it would violate against that to say they have different values. Share. So that's what it is for. It's just for to double check and be sure that okay, this value is really what I'm passing in. It's the most advised what's it called equality to use, but you can also use the loose equality too. Share. I hope I answered the question.
Yes, okay, thank you.
Okay. So I'm going to write out the
Hi,
correction to
please,
what I asked on the
please,
group.
I have a question.
Hold on a minute, please. Okay. Okay, you can ask your question now.
Okay, it's still on pieces work. Is there a precedence to
Okay.
how if and else if works? Because looking at I did not do it actually. I'm just seeing the solution. Let's work help me out. The first one, she said if my name
Okay.
equals peace and my age equals 13, which is actually true,
Mm-hmm.
that our console
Mm-hmm.
should read peace is a good student. Else, if
Mm-hmm.
that is not
Very fun.
true, my name
Mm-hmm.
equals peace, or my school, the all would choose as far as one is correct, it's going to print it out to the console. So I was
Yes.
even expecting the one of I am participating to come out, but her answer is saying peace is a good
This is a good
student,
student. Okay. Yeah, I get
while
you
the two
now.
conditions are
Now, so
actually
what's the if and else? Okay, I'll explain that now. So why this would work, yeah, is because for any if and else condition that you state, yeah, if the first block that you have, like the if condition, if that first block is true, then it won't go ahead and run the second block at all. The else, it's not even touch it at all. It will stop at that if block, and that there you have it. Shake it. But let's say
okay.
um probably what she has in the first block is like my name is equal not peace. Shake it. Then it will definitely throw it will go to the else statement and to print that out. Do you understand now?
Okay, okay, thank you.
Yeah. So let me make the correction to the assignment now. Let's see. I don't know why this thing kind of like froze somehow. And that is very, very fun. But you guys can still hear me. But yet I cannot access my PC. Very, very fun. What is going on here? This is serious. So we should probably break so I'll get to know what's wrong with my PC. Just reason. Did you guys get that? So we meet in 30 minutes. Yeah.
How many minutes break?
Yeah, let's make it. We'll see. Yeah. We see 4 minutes. Now it'll be 11:30. So you meet by 11:30. Come.
Why am I in the class now?
Thank you.
Let's. I think the statement that is right. So I'll be making we have values that we want to check. For example, okay, let's just use one of these that I had before. Trivial. A is greater than age and okay. So example that we have is greater than age, and also this condition is to be met. Age is also print or else if that does not happen, then the next line should print. So if we were to check our console now, we should see let's see. Let's start. Oh, shalom. Let's go. Okay, so this is not clicking yet. Let me just post this thing again. Yeah, so yeah, so we can see that this prints out in the console as I want console out one of these that is going back in. So yeah, so we have here that it says yes, and this is also true. Then we want this to be printed out, which it does here. And let's now check if otherwise it will print. So I say age is equals to 19 and this is less than 100. Let's print. Yeah, so if year is greater than age and also this, mm, so and what we are saying is if year is greater than age and also this year minus age is less than 100 or age is equal to 19, then this should print out. Then it is printing out because year is definitely greater than age, yes, because 2022 is greater than 19, and year minus age is not less than 100. But this other part here is true. This age is equal to 19, true, from here. So that's why this is printing out. If you change and say age equals 18, that will mean that this from here is true. Then it's not going to print out. So none of the conditions were met. Why is that? And that's because this one that we had our or statement that I wanted to use to as the second part to this condition is not true. Year minus age is not less than 100. Year minus age is, let me just bring this down so that I don't have to go back up all the time. It is not less than 100 because 2022 minus 19 definitely 100 or anything like that. Also, age is not equals 18 anymore because so this first part is true, but the second part is not true, which means a true and a false cannot make a true. It can only make a false. For I want to recommend this thing, so let me just write it down as true for any and statement. It's something to note actually is very, very helpful. For any and statement, a true and a false. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Okay. A true and a false will always return false if false and a true, false and a false. Only a true and a true will always return a true. So what this means is anytime you have an and statement that you're using this and expression here, if the first if what comes before the evaluation of what comes before the and is true and what follows it is false, then this whole evaluation it will return a false. What does that mean? Like if you check this example that we have, here is greater than age from here, 2022 is greater than 19. Then we are using the and operator on it and checking if year minus age is less than 100. Let me check so that for simplicity's sake so that we understand this very well. I want to remove the constraints that we had before. Now, what this means is if year is greater than age and the year minus age is less than 100, then we want to do what is on this line here. But this is a false value because year minus age is not less than 100. This is a true, this part here, this first one, this first line here is true, but this second line here is false. Whenever this condition happens, the evaluation of this will always be a false. Let me do that so you can see. let's say I have console the log. Just see. Control V. Now, if we check this out on the console, if we check this line 38 out on the console, it will return a false. Cannot access here. Before initialization. Any initialization. Yeah. Line 5. Oh, okay. This one is here. I was wondering why it's throwing that error.
This is what I checked.
It's that one again. Okay. So now we can see from here, we are checking if year is greater than age, and also year minus age is less than 100. That is a false statement. Yes. And we already know that for any if statement to run, it must always have the evaluation of what is in the block must be true. Like this part here that is inside this block must always be true. And since this is false, this first line will not run. Then it moves to the second line. She gets. So that's what it means. Whenever you are trying to add a statement, we're trying to use the AND operator on a statement. They both must be true so that our conditional statement would run. So let's say the first one is also false, like this. Oh, can you guys hear me? Someone says they can't hear me.
Yes, you can hear you, Mr. Abdullah.
Okay, Attila, I think it's probably your network that's bad. So what I was saying was, so let's say you have a true and a false statement, like written together with the AND operator, it will return a false value. When you have a false and a true operator written together, it always return a false value. The only time when you can return a true value is when both of the with both of the conditions that you're trying to use the AND operator on is true. That's when you can have a true from the operator. So that it won't be like I'm rambling. Let me try to express this better. Okay, Charity, please. You can speak, Charity.
Sorry, I'm just joining in. I said I'm just coming in. Have you treated the notes? I just wanted to be
Have
sure.
I treated the what?
Have you treated the notes, the notes,
No, no,
the
no,
not
I've not
logical
treated.
operation?
No, I've not treated it yet.
All
Okay.
right.
Abdullah, we can't hear you again. Is he out?
in progress.
Hello. Is that still not here? Everybody don't go. Mm. Okay.
Let me try and call him. I think he's having network issues again.
Okay.
So did you get that?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Who is eating rice? Ngozi, guy, you are eating rice.
Sorry.
So can you guys hear me?
Yes, you can hear me now.
Okay. So yeah, I lost connection before.
Okay.
Okay. And so I'm trying to explain the values that we can have with the AND operator. So the evaluation of this thing goes like this. For any AND operator to work, like in the conditional statement, like we have below here, like this line here, this line 43. For this to work, both like when you use the AND operator, the value that it returns must be true. Now let's say I have this condition here that I'm trying to state, like age is greater than year, which is not true. This is a false statement. Age is not greater than year. Then I'm trying to check if this also, which age is equal to 19, this part is true. If you check our console, we will see that it will return a false value. It returns a false value. And also, if age is less than year, this would return a true value. Now, we can only use the AND operator to perform a function, to give us a condition. For a condition to work, the value must be true. What I mean is, if you write an if statement, for the if statement part to work, this condition, the condition in the if statement must be true. You get for it to work. I hope you are getting that.
Yes, sir.
So let's say we put something like this, something that returns a false value here. If we put something that returns a false value here, then what is inside this else block? What is inside this if is not going to run? Did we get that? I don't know if I'm communicating. Did we get that, please?
Sorry, sir. Is that a minus?
This one here.
No. Yeah. Yes.
This one. Yes, it's a minus.
Yes.
It's a minus. It's just not big, it's a minus.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what so that's why when we ran this before it was not working. So I guess like with experience, you guys like when you practice well enough, you understand the concepts very well. But let's move on to the not operator so that we can finish that up today. So what the not operator does is just a negating operator actually. So
Shouldn't it be exclamation before the
that's a
equal?
mistake. Yeah, that was a mistake on my part. Now, so what the not operator does is it just checks, just check if something is not equal to something. What it means is just not equals to. You get. So for this line now, I'm saying if age is not equal to 19, that means if this condition is true, if the age is not equal to 19, then we should consider the log age is not equal to 19. Else, we should consider the log age is 19. That means if age is not 19, you should print this out. Or if age is 19, you should print this out. If you check our console now, we see that it will show that age is 19. Why? Because age is really 19. So if age is equals, I want to say better way to use. If age is equals to, okay, if age is not equals to 18, now you can use it to check for the what is not a value. Like let's say age, what we are checking here now is if age is not equals to 18, then we want this to work. Like we want to console the log age is not equal to 18. Else, if age is 18, then you console the log age is 18. Now, if we check our console now, it is the first part here that it will show, which means age is not equal to 18 because age from here is 19. Do you get? So that's what the not operator is for. It's just to negate the value. You can also negate booleans. You can say if this was true, you can just say if not true, then you should print out this, then else you should print out age is true. Now, what I'm trying to check here is, although I could have written false here, but let me just say there's a first O equals true. Now, I'll explain this in a minute. I just want to finish the code. Now, so what I defined here is I just defined a variable with a Boolean value of true, which is bool as true. So I'm not checking the condition that if age, what am I even doing? It's not, it should be like this. Okay. So if age is not equal to Boolean of true, so like if age is not true, then it should return age is, it should be not true. Now, if age is not equals to this value that we have in true, then it should return age is not true. Else it should return age is false. Now, if you check our console, you will see that it returns age is false because age is not equal to what Boolean is. What's this? Said if age is not equals to boolean and age is true and boolean is also true, then you should do this. Age is not true. But if it is equal to it, then you should do age is false. Okay. Did you get that? What I did was I defined a variable called boolean of true. I defined a variable called bol, bool, which is true. And also age, I defined it as a variable that is true. Now I'm now checking in this line here that if age is not equal to boolean, that means if age is not equal to the value of boolean, and the value of boolean is true. So if age is not equal to true, but age is true here, then it should return this. But if age is true, then it should return this value here. That's why we can have in our console that age is false here. Do you understand that? It sounds confusing somehow. But do we understand? I'm not
Yes.
getting. Okay. Let's see what can we move on to. Okay, let's touch up on the concept of arrays. Arrays. So arrays are a compilation or a group of data actually defined in a square bracket and a comma. Sorry. Now, so what are arrays? We might have a lot of data that we want to store a variable that has const and friend. Like probably I have like 5 friends, and I want to say my first friend that our name is like friend one equals Mike, friend two equals Yike, friend three equals Psych. I have Mike, Yike, and Psych. They are all my friends, right? And I want to define a variable. I have to define a variable one by one for all of them. But it's not actually friend that we. It allows us to compute data into one single, like into a single element that we can have 3 friends all together in a single constant. Const friends equals, and how you define an array is you write a square bracket like this. And in that square bracket, you just put you put your data in there. So let's say I want to put my friend one in there. I'll just take Mike and I'll write it as Mike like this. Mike. Then if I want another element or another, I'll put a comma to separate it. Then I'll add the second person, which will be Yike. And if I want to add another person, I can add the last, which will be Psych. Do you get? Now, if I console.log what friends is, it will display an array like this that shows Mike, Yike, and Psych as my friends all together in one single line. So I don't have to define all of them one by one like this. I have a way of grouping them. So that's what arrays are for. It's a way of grouping data. So you can write different kinds of data in array. It can be numbers, it can be Boolean, it can be anything. So I can go ahead and add one here, I can add two here, I can add true here, I can add false here, and we still have our array. So it is not discriminating does not discriminate against the data that you pass into it. As long as it's just data, it will definitely read it. So you can see here we have the first 3 as strings. Then I follow it up with 2 numbers and 2 boolean values. So you can store anything that you want inside an array. It could be a name, a string, a number, or a boolean. Now, you see that we know how to group all of this now. You can see we have Mike, we have Yike, and Psych. What if I want to get a particular value that is inside? I want to get a particular value. Let's say I want to get Psych now, or I want to get Mike now. I want to print out what Mike is singly, but it's inside an array. How do I do that? So the way I do that is I just call console.log, then friends, which is the array, right? Then I'll put another square bracket. So the square bracket that I put beside friends is to show is what you use to index into, and what we call indexing is just trying to go into your array and pick out a value. That's what indexing means. If I say I want to index into an array, it means I want to go to a particular point or a particular data set, a particular data point in that array and pick something out. So that's what indexing means. Just in case you hear it from somebody, it doesn't sound like a very vague term. Indexing means just going into a group of data that you have and picking something out. Now, how JavaScript indexes things is it does not start numbering from 1. It starts its numbering from 0. So let's say we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 here that are inside this array. If you want to take the first element, it is going to be 0 because JavaScript counts from 0. Instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you start from 0 and you go to 6. It goes from 0 to 6. So you have Mike as 0, Yike as 1, as 2, then 1 as 3, 2 as 4, true as 5, and false as 6. Now, if we check constants into the 0, it shows Mike, which is this part here. See it, Mike here. So if I wanted to go and check for the value of Yike now, I want to get Yike, I will want 0, 1, and that will be 1, right? So it print out Yike here. So if I wanted to get 1, for example, that is 0, 1, 2, then 3, then I will get 1 as my answer, as my get. So that's index into an array. There are different kinds of array methods. But before you go into that, there is this method called length, the length property actually. So when you say friends.length, what this does is it gets the number of values that is inside that array. Now you say we have 1, 4, 5, 6, 7. It will get, okay, this is supposed to be, okay. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So let's say you have an array now that has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It has 7 elements inside it. So that's what this property is for. Let's say you are getting a data probably from a backend or somebody is giving you a particular kind of data. And you want to know the length of you want to know the number of items in that array. That's when you use this length property. It is to show the number of in that array. So you can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So it prints out. Just note, it might sound contradictory because when we wanted to count to index into the array, we are saying we count from 0. But when it came to length now, it counts from 1. This is because when you are indexing, it's because you want to get what the value of something inside of that array. But when you are calculating the length, you just want to know the amount of the property of what you have. I mean, you want to know the amount of things that you have inside. So indexing and getting the length are two different things. When you want to index, you want to get a particular property out of that array. But when you want to check the length, you want to check the whole of the items inside that array. So that's the difference between the indexing and the length. Do you all get that? If you have questions, please, I will answer them. I'm assuming you don't have questions. Okay.
Yes.
So moving on, the other properties that we do you have questions?
No,
Hello, sir. I wanted to ask you something.
Okay, I'm listening.
So assuming you want to get true now, it will be is it 0, 6?
Let's count together. It should be 1, 2.
That's the
3,
index.
4, 5, 6. Yeah, it will be 6. But it's not going to be 0.6 like you mentioned. If you want to get the index, it will just be 6. You don't do 0.6, it's just 6. You count 0, 1, 2, 3, not 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3. It will be 6. Do you get?
Okay.
So if I wanted to log that now, I'll say console.log, and I'll say friends, which is the name of my array. Then I'll put it in the square bracket, then I'll put 6 there. So if you check our console, you see a
It
false.
should be 5, not 6.
Oh, it's 5,
It
right?
should be 5.
Okay. So true now has a value of 5, and you can see it returns it here, which is 5. True. Do you get now? So do you get that?
Yes, I got it.
Okay. So there are a number of properties that you can perform. There are a number of things that you can perform on an array. So you can add data to an array, and you can remove data from an array. So I'm going to add this here, add data to an array. So if you want to add data to an array, friends is what we named our array now. There are a number of ways where you can add data to an array. You can add data to an array by doing friends dot push. Then when you push, you just put whatever you want to pass into the array. Let's say I want to pass a string of John to the array now. I'll just say friends dot push then John. So when we check our let's see. Say console dot log wait, what is this? Okay. So I almost made a mistake now. We have console.log friends.push John. Yes. So what this dot push does actually is it will add this John to the array, but the function in itself, it will not return the new array that we have. It will just return the length of the new array that we have. Now the length of the new array is 8, but if we save this in a variable, let's say const new friends equals friends.push John, right? Then I said console.log new friends. We will have John. We see that John will be pushed to this array that we had before. So friends, yeah. So sorry, I think do I have so let's see, appends new elements to the end of an array and returns the length of. I think I made a mistake with this push. It's not push. Let's check. Because personally, I don't know everything off the top of my head. Let's say JavaScript array methods. I'm sorry. Try to check this thing up this morning, Shabbat. I don't remember this thing. You know, it should show fruits of push and orange. And I make that a new length. It should work actually. I don't know why it isn't. I don't know why it's returning the length. It's returning the new length of the array, but it's not returning the array itself.
Friends, I think the dot. I think
Sorry,
the
what?
friends dots. I think that's the problem. That's let's new friends dot.
I don't get you. Sorry, I can't hear you very well. Sorry, who spoke? I can't hear you.
I thought it's supposed to be maybe friends dots, maybe push or something.
I'm coming.
Exactly. I think it's okay now.
Hey, but it's still logging the same thing actually. So it's still returning the length. Give me a minute. Just give me a minute. Let's see what I can do.
So that is how push works. It works by it only returns the new
The
value of your
the
array.
array, yeah, I'm coming.
Yeah,
Give me a
it
minute
does not
first.
give.
I'm coming. Space is
Because
hot.
yeah, and mine is correct. It's showing everything. It's not returning it as length.
The push, Abby.
Yeah,
That's
the
very, very
push.
fun.
I just
That's
did. Yeah, just did something whatever like my panel dot push added about 2 objects and then console dot log it and everything came out.
that's very, very funny because I knew that that's what it was supposed to do, but why is returning the value at the moment? I'm coming. Give me a minute.
The code is correct. The way you wrote it is actually correct. Just the array dot
Yes.
push work. It will add it. Yes. Maybe maybe you try to load it again. At time, if you're loading through the live server, it happens. It will affect the new changes. It
Okay.
doesn't at
No.
time. Or whether you load the file, the index directly, then you open your console through it. But it's
Let
actually
me see.
correct. Your push like that's correct.
Okay. The new array returns it now. Let's see. I reloaded the stuff. Let me just share my screen again. Okay. So yes, I will share my screen now. Mm, so, okay, that's very, very fun. Oh, okay, I get it now. That's very fun. So you guys can see my screen now, Shane. So you guys can see my screen, right?
Yeah, we can see us.
Okay. So what was happening actually was that this dot push, yeah, it actually returns the length of the array. That was why like this line it was not changing at all with this line, the line 60 that I have here. It was not changing because what new friends will do is, let me just consider log it again so I will see. If you consider log new friends, it is going to be the length of the array that we have like right now. As is, sorry, don't worry. You shook that stuff before. So what new friends does is it returns the length of the array, but with the God, calm down, blah. Okay. So let me explain to the best of my ability. What friends does so what's this thing? What's dot push method does is it returns the length of the new array, right? And you store that in this variable called new friends. So when I log that value out, it was returning the length of the new array, which is here. What it really does is it pushes the value that we are trying to add to the array, original array that we have. You know, the array that we first had was this friends array now. So if you console.log the friends array now, you're going to get the new values of what you have pushed into it. That was why yours was working. I was wondering why mine was not working. So the value the new array that we are getting is not going to be stored in this new friends. It is still going to be stored in our old friends array, which you get now. So let me just write another array so that we understand what I'm saying. Let's say I have let sports be equals, so we have an array of sports, that's, let's say, basketball, let's say baseball, football. Now this is a new array. So if you wanted to like add arrays to it, we say sports dot push, then we do volleyball, comma. If you want to add one or more, you just add the comma, then you add what you want to add again. Then you have golf, and let's say we have hockey. Yes. So this first one is the sports array, which is console.log sports. Now that this line here, this line 65, it will console.log these values that we have in the array, which is basketball, baseball, and football. Now, if you check that out now, you have this array, which is basketball, baseball, and football. Now, if I add this line here, which says sports.push, and I push this volleyball and golf and hockey, it will add these values into the array, but the array name does not change. So if I push that and I upload it now, we should have, you see, in this array now, we have basketball, baseball, football, volleyball, golf, and hockey all together in the array. Do you understand that now? Sorry, do you get that?
Yes, we do.
Okay. So there are also other ways to add to add what's it called, values to an array. There's the unshift method. So the unshift method, it allows you to add it allows you to add data to the beginning of the array. So let's say I want to add a new sport to the beginning of our array. Now I can add what other sport we have. Let's say ice hockey, for example. Now, you know, the other methods that we have, this volleyball, golf, and hockey, it was adding it to the end of the array. It continued the array from football, then you added volleyball, then you added golf, then you added hockey. But what Unshift does is it just takes the ice hockey, instead of adding it to the end, like continuing at hockey, it just take it to the beginning. So we have ice hockey in the beginning, followed by basketball, then baseball, then football. Now, if we were to check that now, we have here ice hockey first, then basketball, then baseball, then football, then volleyball, then golf, then hockey. So that's what the unshift and that's what the unshift method does. Do you understand that? So yeah, we are getting that so that I can move on.
We're with you.
Okay. So I want to check for other methods here. Push map, join. What does join actually do? I think join actually joins too. Oh, okay. This does something different. So I think if there are any other array methods that I can see, so before tomorrow I would actually join them. So we have the delete, the what's it called? Ways we can delete data from an array too. So let's see. So let's say we want to delete.
Hello.
Yeah.
Please,
Can hear you.
this sports dot push, when you wanted to add the new data, does it have to be immediately after the first comment?
Does it have to be immediately
Does it have
after
to
the
be
first?
before the does it have to be before the console dot log?
Yes, yeah, no, it does. It doesn't actually.
Okay.
It doesn't. It doesn't. But what you have to do is before you write this sports dot push, you have to have this one first. This
Yeah.
sports and where you define your array. Because if you take
Okay.
it up, you get an error that says like the array has not been defined yet. That's because we define the array at the bottom and we are trying to push something to it in the beginning, and that's not possible. Do you get?
Okay. Okay.
So,
Thank you.
yeah. So the shift, what the shift does is, you want to, if you want to like the on shift now, it takes ice hockey and puts it in the beginning, right? Now what the shift does on an array is it just removes what you have in the first, item that you have in the array. It takes it and it prints that out. So let's, if I console.log log sports.shift, you have something like ice hockey at the end. Do you get? What the shift does is, if you want to like get an item from an array, it will just take the first item and remove it and return that. It will be your output. That's what the shift is for. Do you get? Do you understand?
Yes, we do. So it's like the shift
It's the opposite for
helps you
the.
select something.
Yeah, exactly. The shift is like the opposite of on shift. On shift now, if you want to use
Yes.
it to add data to an array, it takes it to the beginning. But what the shift does is it just picks that the data that is at the beginning, it picks it and it returns it. Do you get?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So we also have another method called pop, which is sports.pop. So what this does is it takes in an element from the last element from an array. It takes that and it removes it. Do you get? So let's say we want to remove the last item from an array now, which in our case is going to be hockey.
Okay.
That is what is going to be, that's what is going to return. So if I say console.log sports.pop, yeah, then it is going to return hockey, and it's going to return hockey. She gets. What pop does is it takes the last item from an array and it returns it. She gets. Sorry, what? Was anyone talking? Do you want to ask a question? So is there anybody asking a question?
No, that was a mistake.
Okay, okay. So against tomorrow, I'm going to be dropping an assignment. So against tomorrow, I would love for us to read up on the different kinds of array methods, and I will try as much as possible to explore all of them tomorrow. Do you get? So I think with this, we've come to the end of today's class.
Sorry,
If you have any questions, you can. Yeah, listen.
So are you saying that you don't?
Sorry, what?
Are you saying there's no assignment, like that any assignment that you need to give?
No, 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 no. I'm going to be dropping the assignment on the group chat, like on WhatsApp.
Okay, so you'll be dropping it on your WhatsApp.
Yes, I just want us to, like, if you can in your free time, let's read up on the different types of array methods that we have. And tomorrow I would explain most of them. That most of the ones that are useful in real life and like scenarios you get. Because they are actually quite they're
Actually, we won't mind
yeah.
if you drop it like if you drop it earlier than yesterday's one, like you drop it like
Oh yeah. Yesterday I was really busy yesterday. That was right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd already slept off when you stopped it, so I couldn't do the.
Oh, my bad. I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. Like normally, like I am now, I work to complete, so I was really busy yesterday, and I even slept off very, very early yesterday. Around 10, I had slept already. I woke up this morning around 6, so I was really tired. I'm sorry. So I'll drop it earlier today, so we can do it.
Hello?
All right. Thank you guys for this. Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can
Yeah,
hear you.
I'm having issue
I
with,
can hear
I'm
you.
trying to, yeah,
Boss, ask your question now.
yeah, I can hear you. I'm saying that I'm having the JS file. It's
Okay.
giving me like some issue.
Okay.
So if I want to run .js file, I have my .html and I've linked it. I've linked the .js with the .html. So, but when I do run, initially it worked, but when I added something and it's bringing out some errors, I don't know
Yeah.
what's going on.
Let me make you pause so you can share your screen so we see your error and we kind of like explain what's going on there. Is that fine?
Yeah, I think I will need to join with my laptop.
Okay.
So I'm trying to join with my laptop now.
Please do so we can tackle. Does anybody have any other questions regarding the class or anything that does not seem that seems like you don't understand? I'm ready to answer your questions, please.
I barely understand this JavaScript, so I'm going to read more on it because I don't even understand what is going on.
At all. So,
Good afternoon.
So please, could we ask one by one? Let me, if you want to ask a question, kindly raise up your hand so we can go sequentially like that. So if you have a question, please raise your hand so I can like call people sequentially so we'll be able to answer all. Nobody's raising up their hand. Okay. Anybody else? Any you can speak, please.
Yeah, please make me a co-host. I'm ready now.
Oh,
Good afternoon.
Okay. Yeah, good afternoon.
Sorry, when I was reading through the Kini, I was seeing something like va. Is va vadom? Is it same thing as vadom?
I don't understand you, ma.
Like when I was reading the recordings, like when I was watching the recordings, I saw where you were using va, like this VAR.
Okay.
I'm not like, is va is same thing as vadom?
Vadom as in what? Like, so
Vadom.
could you spell the vadom that you mean?
VARDUMP.
DUME? No, I don't know where you saw it.
VARDUMP.
I don't know where you saw that. No, there's no vadom.
I just want to ask whether it's the same thing.
No.
Oh, okay, thank you.
All right. So I can't see victory for all anymore. She left me.
Yeah, I joined with laptop.
So
You
what's
see my
the
laptop? Use it.
is it Vic?
That's Vic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. No. So anybody else with a question, please? Okay, let me stop sharing so you can share. So because you can message me. So if you have any issues or anything that you don't understand, I can always explain. You can message me. You get?
Okay, thank you very much.
Welcome. Okay, so what do you have, boss?
You can see my screen now.
Yeah, I can.
Okay, so this is what I'm saying, that okay, I have my index.js. Okay, I was trying to practice that other this thing. So I have my index.js ready.
Okay.
And so I'm trying to now, and I've prepared the so I'm not trying to do run.
Okay.
So when I do that,
what you have to do is none of us are running it. Okay. None of us are running this in like the console that we have on VS Code. We are using Chrome's VS Code to run it. Do you get? So what you would probably do is, yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to do. That's what I've been using all this while. I don't know why this thing is now, it's not bringing up issues. Like,
it's not working anymore.
It's not working, yeah.
Yeah, host this your HTML file on live server. Let me see what's up.
Okay.
So, and have you guys marked the attendance, please? I don't know anything about the attendance, so I don't want it to be my own fault.
Yeah, can you see the screen?
Yes, but I cannot see your Chrome screen. It's only your VS Code screen that I can see.
Okay, a second. I want to share both.
No, also not having comma was very far. No comma.
Okay, so inspect and let's see your console.
Yeah, it's working here, but I don't know why it's not working on VS Code.
I don't know why. I don't think anybody ever runs their JavaScript on their VS Code when it's not that you are running a Node.js or a backend thing. I've never done that before. So you always have to see the output of a JavaScript file here on your console. It might be possible, but I've not personally done it before.
I tried initially when I started typing. When I typed this first line, I checked it on the VS Code on the debug of this thing.
Console terminal. Yes. Yeah, when you console.log, it should work actually. Try running it again and let's see. Press F5 and run it. Let's see. F5. Just press F5.
It's not to be working. It's not working. It's like I will just continue with this other one. The browser on.
Yeah, that would be better.
Okay. And I wanted to seek clarification. Thanks.
Okay. No problem, boss. Yeah, sorry. Any other questions before we enter this class, please? Questions. We don't have any, so I think we can end the call now. Thank you all for attending the class. See you all tomorrow.